All right, a very good morning and welcome once again to Kingston's National Stadium. And we're here for the J3 Qualification Series number 9.6. My name is Roger Haspel, and with me today again,
Is Dwight Fraser.
Dwight
Morning, Raj.
Fraser, the legendary one himself.
No,
Good to
no,
be
no,
here
no.
again.
I don't know if the word legendary or the adjective legendary is should be ascribed to me.
Why not?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine taking too long, though, People have a tendency to forget quite quick in this country.
That is it.
Mhm.
It's like they forget greatness quickly.
Yes, indeed. So
But
we're here, Dwight, for
yeah,
the J3 qualification series, and a number of events are on here this morning at the National Stadium.
yeah, Raj. I mean, this again is another in the series of the qualifiers of the J3 for the seniors, Roger. Remember last week, a week ago, we were here at Velocity Fest number 9. We saw Rashid Bell running a world
Broadbell.
leading Broad Bell
Hmm.
running a world leading 13.15 seconds. Also saw Shelley Fraser Price winning the 200. Elaine Thompson the 100 meters. Asafa Paul finished third in the men's 100 meters. So, and there were good performances in the field as well. But this afternoon we'll be seeing the seniors pretty much following the same pattern from last week. Not sure as to all the events yet, but as the program continues, we'll tell our viewers.
Of course, there are a number of events. We have the 100 meters, which will kick-start things here this morning for both men and women. That will be followed by the 110-meter high hurdles for men. Then it's on to the women's 200 meters, followed by the 800 meters, then the 400 meters, the 3,000 meters, the men's 5,000 meter run, the women's 400-meter hurdles, as well as the men. And activities on the track will close out with the 1,500 meters. On the field, we are having shot put for both men and women, long jump, high jump, javelin. We have also discus throw and the triple jump. So those are the events here today at the J3 qualification series number 9.6. All about the seniors today.
Looking at the list you've just read there, Roger, I think the only thing that was missing out of last week when we make the comparison is a javelin event. But nonetheless, I mean, the senior athletes in a world championship year, Roger, and in an Olympic year, when there are also several other international and regional meets in which they hope to qualify and to participate in, will use this J3 qualifiers as certainly as another crucial springboard both on the track and in the field.
Yes, because they definitely need the competition at this stage. As you are quite aware, the whole sporting industry is still not yet fully and running. And track and field was one of those sport that was really kind of suffering in terms of lack of competition. They started the J3 qualification series a couple of weeks ago. It was after a while put on hold because of the whole curfew issues by the government, and then they returned with activities last week. They had a series of qualifiers this week for the juniors. Of course, they are all preparing for the boys and girls athletics championships. One even was held here yesterday for the juniors, and of course, they are all still seeking, qualification times to run at champs from May 11 to 15. We have so much to
Definitely.
say about champs as well,
Yes,
Dwight, and
indeed.
we'll talk about that as the overall broadcast continues today.
All right, right now we have on the track the first event of the morning. It is the 100 meters dash for women. Uh, I'm seeing four competitors on the track, but only three in the draw for lanes based on what we have in front of us.
Mhm.
All right. In lane two should be Melissa Walker Roger from MVP. Lane four is Mikhail Moody, MVP. And in lane five, Jodian Stewart, MVP. Also, we're seeing unattached Alexis Martin Gordon in lane seven. And there should be a Vanessa Crooks in lane 8. Away they go. First time of asking. And immediately we look to the middle of the track and we see Mikhail Moody running there out of lane 4 of MVP track. She's all alone looking smooth and good arm drive. And she runs through the line to take the first one. Second seemed to be Melissa Walker running there out of lane 2, her MVP teammate.
Right, so two MVP athletes here in this first event this morning, or rather three. and Mikhail Moody winning that event. No official time coming across. We are trying to see the official time. The screen in terms of the times, we are still awaiting that.
Yes.
And also the athletes are down there waiting to see what time will be registered beside their names.
And I recognize that Gart Gale, the president of the J3s, and himself, who have worked very hard in the field as it regards setting up equipment for track meet around the island. And so I saw him and his team on the ground doing the recce and the preparation. I was really surprised that I didn't see the time coming up there on the board.
Well, no time as yet. But yes, you spoke about Gareth Gale. Well, he's one of those individuals who is a trenches man. You'll always see him in the trenches
Not
from
necessarily in the
all.
offices.
No, not enough. Although he's a school principal,
Right.
he's one of those dedicated servants of track and field,
Right.
both on and off the field in terms of in the office and on the field. And he'll be there making sure that all the practical things are in place. And, maybe the timing system still maybe having some issues there. We're still not yet seeing an official time
For the first
accredited
event.
to Mikhail Moody of the MVP
Which,
Track Club.
which means then, Roger, perhaps that the organizers then would hold this race until the timing system is sorted out, because you wouldn't want the athletes to be running continuously through these heats, and then you don't have the timing available for coaches who want to make a note.
All right, so if you have just joined us, you're watching Stride Vision TV, and we're here bringing you live and continuous coverage of the JAAA Qualification Series number 9.62 here at the National Stadium. It was quite sunny earlier, but we are now having some overcast conditions. No immediate threat of rains nonetheless, but it's well needed and well welcomed dark clouds hovering over the stadium now because it was quite sunny and hot
Yes.
a short while ago. But it's now it's quite cool, and I'm certain the athletes down there, those warming up, who are competing,
Yes.
will be welcoming this relief in terms of the overcast condition.
Certainly. Last week at the Velocity Fest, we ran and competed. The athletes ran and competed over the 2.5 hours in bright sunshine. And as you said before, heavy overcast conditions here at the National Stadium, Kingston's National Stadium, which augurs well for the athletes to compete. Roger, last week, though, we had, I think, about 5 records going on the day. Any expectations today?
I think we may have some good world times here today as well. The athletes are really fleshing their muscles now. They have been out of competition for a long while. And of course, today I think we have Johan Blake. Of course, you remember he didn't compete last week in the 100 meters
As a result
the
of the multiple false starts.
faulty starts.
For our
Yeah.
faulty starts, if you will.
I
Yes.
am
I think it was
seeing-
about 5 in his heat
Yes,
alone, and
yes.
he got fed up and just walked off the track.
Yeah. So he is here today. I'm certain that he's looking for a good time to throw down some form of gauntlet that he's still around. Not certain. I'm seeing if Asafa is here this week in terms of here at the qualifiers. But we know that there are quite a few world beaters listed here today.
Interesting to point out, Roger, that the timing system is being sorted as we speak. We're doing a test now with the numbers running there on the timing board, which therefore means we should have the times now from here on. Still not clear as to what transpired where the first heat is concerned. No time accredited there to the winner, or if it was, we haven't got that.
Well, I'm certain that you'll see a register time somewhere at the end of the proceedings here. But for now, no official time yet for that first winner, section 1, the women's 100 meters here at the National Stadium.
We did say good morning to all our viewers in Jamaica land we love. Good morning to our viewers in the Caribbean. And we could also say good morning to our viewers in sections of North America, depending on what time zone, either East or West Coast. East being the New York region and West being California. Also, too, our viewers straddle different time zones around the world, Roger,
Hmm.
outside of North America, the Caribbean, and Jamaica.
Right.
And so we would also say good night to our viewers um, watching in Japan, and we also say good evening or good afternoon to our viewers in London.
Right. Quite a few hours away from us in terms of the time zone. Of course, you don't even mention the other side of the world as well, Australia, New
Australia,
Zealand,
yes, yes,
and
which
so
they
on, the
themselves know
Pacific.
are already in Sunday.
Right.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
and a special shout out as well to our very hard-working Stride Vision technical and engineering team here at the National Stadium, making sure that what you're seeing on your screen quite clear and very, very sharp. So we head on now to section 2 of the women's 100 meters. We have Mickey Harriet, Kadisha Dallas, Yannick Thompson, and Griselle Scarlett. Yannick Thompson, she's a former World Youth 100 hurdles champion and a clean start. And Harriet gets up well out there in lane 2. And in the pack is Dallas and Thompson. But holding on to that lead is Mickey Harriet winning 11.64. And it was close going there between Dallas Thompson for the second and third placing. But 11.64, the flash time coming across here for Mickey Harriet of GC Foster College, winning section 2 of the women's 100 meters. 11.68, the official time.
11.68 seconds, not too bad a time. Dallas second and Thompson third. What is interesting, Roger, is that all these athletes get the competition under their belt. As we take a look at the race again, roughly about midway now, 50 meters or so, with Michelle Harriet really looking smooth there out in lane 2, being chased by Thompson and the rest of the pack, but they couldn't catch her on the line, returning 11.68. Second in the event was Dallas, Kadisha Dallas, that is 11.88 seconds, and third Scarlett 11.52, make that 11.92 for Scarlett.
Right, so Yannick Thompson finishing at the back of the pack, but this is not her special event. Her special event would have been the 100-meter hurdles. And as we were saying earlier, she was the last World Youth 100 hurdles champion, having won impressively over there in Kenya the last time the World Youth Championships was held there. And still waiting to see her make that transition. She was at the MVP for a while. Now she's with the Maurice Wilson coach, Sprintech.
Sprintech at GC Foster
Of
College.
course, GC Foster College houses Sprintech as well.
Right.
But, two separate institutions. GC Foster College represented, Sprintech represented here today. And no doubt it's Mickey Harriet winning that second section.
As you mentioned, Thompson being the 100-meter hurdles being our pet event. I remember over the years we had many Jamaicans coming through, Roger, in the 100-meter hurdles women's event. Delarine Ennis London being one of them who herself retired from the sport. She had many misfortunes, but also to many times of glory. Michelle Freeman had many misfortunes at the World Championship and Olympic Games, where she fell on her way to victory in 1992, and the athlete Patti Ludo of Greece, I remember winning there. But also Bridget Foster Hilton, the creme de la creme, the chief of them all, would be more successful at the event, Roger. How about youngsters coming through? Yannick Thompson, we're not seeing anybody else?
A number of youngsters are coming through.
We'll get back to that discussion in just a bit.
Because we have the
100 meters now for men. Section 1 it is. In lane 1, Michael Stevens, Racers Track, formerly of Calabar. Emmanuel Callender, lane 2, Swept Track. Lane 4, Romario Williams, Sprintech. And Johan Blake, the world champion out of 2011, running out of lane 5, Titans International. Lane 7, Akeem Blake, and lane 8, Kedron Golson. So 5 athletes away they go in the middle of the track. Look to Ewan Blake, the 2011 World Championship gold medalist. He's looking strong and stepping away from the rest of the pack. No problem for the big man. 10.24 seconds. It's a jog in the park in the early morning for Ewan Blake, winning in 10.24 seconds, Raj.
Well, having not seen him last week, he certainly wanted us to, throw down a statement here today that he's still around.
Rounded out now to 10.26.
The official time here for the former world champion, Olympic gold medalist as well, Olympic 200 meters sprint double silver medalist, and 10.26 accredited to Mr. Blake, Akeem Blake, second of Titans, 10.32. But that was a good run, as you saw from Johan Blake. He really wanted was to make a statement today, having not competed last week because of the whole faulty start situation here at the Velocity Fest. And he just let it out on the track today. 10.24, a modest time by his standards, but it's quite early in the season, and no doubt he'll use this as a stepping stone as to where he needs to be. So that is it. Johan Blake will now head across the field. So I don't know, not certain if he'll compete again today, but
Not sure.
he is now making his way off the field, having had a satisfactory outing here this morning.
And we stand by now for section 2 of the men's 100 meters event. Roger will have the call on that one.
So we have the likes of Andrew Fisher, Sprintec. We are seeing Antonio Watson of 400 meters fame. He is in lane number 2. Then we head over to lane 4. It's the former champion, Shane Bailey of Sprintec, formerly of Calabar. Oblique Civil, the last 100 meters champion at the boys champs 2 years ago from Calabar, now representing Racers Track Club, coached by the legendary one himself, Glenn Mills. Then we head over to Javoy Tucker from MVP. And of course, Javon Minzy, Titans, out maybe a season or two due to injury. Made a return, I think it was last week. Had a good outing. And Oblique Civil, he's no doubt one to watch in terms of his progress. And he is now under the tutelage of Glenn Mills.
Yes, Oblique Civil out of Calabar,
Yeah.
and a winner at champs over the 100 meters.
Yes, he should have gotten a good competition last week, but based on the whole situation
with
here,
the faulty starts.
right,
Yes.
he wasn't able to, compete, because that would have been a good test for him, because he had a very good, strong field to compete against. So it's Fisher, no Watson, so Fisher, Bailey, Civil, Tucker, Minzy in the set position, and they're off. So Bailey gets up well, Civil follows him, and Civil now steps to the front on the outside. It's Javon Minzy, but Oblique Civil obliterate the field and wins 20.21, the fastest time of the day so far. Shane Bailey second, and Minzy out there for third. So Oblique Civil logging at 10.21 flash time for now. Let's wait and see the official time. 10.23, the official time for the former Calabar man, Oblique Civil.
Roger, Oblique Civil out of formerly of Calabar, and a resident of Cedar Valley in St. Thomas. Met some of his family about 2 years ago, and they said that once he moves into a senior athlete out of Calabar, he'll be taking track and field a little bit more seriously. And unlike others who we have seen doing well at champs and then coming after champs and fade, Roger, Oblique Civil is one of those who I've been told will maintain his sense of purpose and his interest in track and field. So far, I hope that it is paying off.
All right, yes, indeed. So we just saw the replay there, and a good start between Bailey and Civil, but Civil at 50 meters began to establish his dominance and pulled away, winning in the end. So just to remind you that you're watching live and continuous coverage of the JAAA Qualification Series 9.62 here at the National Stadium. It's all about the seniors today, and they are already out in their glory. You just saw a good run from Oblique Civil, 10.23. Before that, you saw Johan Blake, 10.26, winning his section. And of course, the first section, the second section, the third section coming up now. And in this field will be the man who should have competed in that heat last week, which he also decided that he was having none of it in the end, and decided to just jog away rather than compete again after so much faulty start. We're talking about Miguel Francis here, also at the Racers Track Club.
Yes, Raj, as we look at the lineup now, this is section 3 of the men's 100 meters. In lane 1, it's Mikish Compton, and he represents GC Foster College. His teammate O'Dane McPherson runs in lane 2. In lane 4, Miguel Francis races track. Roger just explained. Michael Bentley, formerly of Calabar, Roger, running there out of lane 5, Legacy Athletics. In lane 7, Jazeel Murphy, Titans International. Jazeel Murphy, a former champion out of Boys Championship and out of Bridgeport High School. Jazeel won last week his section of the 100 meters. And then when he came across the line, he said, I'm back. And Ron Cole in lane 8, MVP track. So we have 5 athletes turning up, Roger.
Mhm.
And they're on their marks. Let's get ready for section 3 of this men's 100 meters qualifier. Away they go. Not a bad start, but in the middle of the track, looking now to Miguel Francis. And Miguel Francis, Roger, really just jogging home. 10.35 seconds.
Yes.
He wasn't pressed
No,
on
not
either
at all.
side. He wasn't pressed from O'Dane McPherson on his inside or Michael Bentley.
10.35, the flash time there for Miguel Francis down there in the islands.
Rounded down now to 10.38.
10.38. Quite an easy jog for him.
He wasn't pushed. It wasn't
No,
pushed.
look, I remember those days, maybe a decade and a half ago, when
Yes.
Asafa Paul was in his real heyday, when you would literally see Asafa jog on sub 10.
Yes.
And that,
Yes.
I mean, those were his impressive days.
Saw him run for the first time
Mhm.
on the 10 seconds at GC Foster College, 9.99.
And that was almost a jog.
Yes.
And he
And it signaled his
literally had it for
intention.
fun.
Yes, yes.
To jog sub 10 seconds. And that was, I mean, although we didn't see a sub 10 second here run, but that was reminiscent of when athletes do jog and produce a satisfactory time. Miguel Francis down there in the islands representing Racers Track Club. Quite easy. Wasn't pushed at all. Maybe his instructions were just to go out there and just log an easy one to
Yes.
see how he feel and where he's at.
And then several weeks later, Asafa came to the National Stadium and then broke the national record, Raymond Stewart time, being no more when Asafa Powell ran the national, ran a national record over the 100 meters. Signal is an intention further to many Jamaicans that he is now the creme de la creme, and went on to great things shortly after that, Raj.
Right, yes. Breaking the world record 2 times before it was taken over by the great one himself, Usain Bolt.
Usain
But
Bolt.
Asafa Ball is still running, still has intentions of making it to the Olympic team.
He finished third last week.
Yes, overall, winning his seat. And his intention is still to make this Olympic team. He says one final time,
Yes.
so we'll wait and see for that. So we head over now
To section 4.
section 4 of the men's 100 meters.
How crucial is the 100 meters, Roger, for some of these athletes on our qualifiers like this?
Well, Jamaica, no doubt, not as strong as in previous years in terms of the sprint. I mean, when you have a Johan Blake still at the head of the pack and so on, and he's not really that impressive as he would have been over the years. The athletes here, I mean, it's all down now to coaching to see if they can lock some good times and see if they can compete against the rest of the world. It's all about that. So Michael Sharp, no, not that Michael Sharp, but Michael Sharp of GC Foster College, Ashani Smith, Daniel Bailey, and they are off. Bailey gets up well in the middle of the pack, and out there is Javon Rawlings, and closing on the inside is Anthony Smith, and they are coming down to the wire very close between Rawlings on the outside and Smith on the inside. 10.61, the flash time there. There was we also had in the field Dexter Lee, the former world youth and 100 meters champion. He faded down in the pack, 10.61 the flash time, and it was very close between Rawlings from GC Foster College and Smith of Racers, still awaiting the official.
And even on the,
placings.
as we take a look back at the replay, Roger, even on the, well, Bailey have been given the nod. So Bailey, the winner there, Roger, 10.83.
Daniel Bailey, we have Daniel Bailey in lane 4,
Right.
but lane 4 certainly did not win that event.
Not
so.
at all. It's either the athlete running out of lane 2 or
or the one from lane 8,
which is
Javon Rawlings,
Javon Rollins.
unless they had a switch and Bailey uh, ran in lane number 2.
We wait for the official thing, Roger, because we're seeing Bailey alone on the board at 10.83, but we haven't seen the times yet for second and third. Well, it's now official, Roger. Uh,
So Daniel Bailey had a switch. He ran in lane 2
okay.
and won that event for Racers Track Club. Lee second, 10.67, and Smith third. Based on the standings we are seeing officially here. So apparently they might have had a couple of switches without our knowledge here in terms of the lane draws and placings.
And then that would have thrown us off, Raj.
Well, let's see.
All right, we stand by now for section 5 of the men's 100 meters. All right, let us see what we have here, Raj. All right, in lane 1, it's Johan Ogilvy of Titans International, with lane 1 vacant at the moment. So the athlete they're running out of lane 2 would be Daniel Chambers, Titans International. Lane 4, Tariq Wilson, formerly of Calabar and a winner at Boys Championship, Legacy Athletics. In lane 5, Joseph Rami, MVP track. Courtney Missick runs in lane 7, Titans International. And in lane 8, Edward Clark Jr., Legacy Athletics. It was Edward Clark who ran for Jamaica College way back in the early 90s.
This is his son.
Oh, Lord. Look at that. 5 athletes for the start.
False.
So there's a
false start.
A false start or a faulty start.
I did see
lane 3.
I did see some early.
I did see the athlete
early start from someone.
Yes,
but
I believe
we'll just wait and see the official.
I'm not sure, but it with the naked eye, it seems as if it's Daniel Chambers.
Well, they are still assessing.
We'll wait to see what will transpire.
So a green card comes across.
A green card, which is a faulty start, Raj?
No doubt it would be
yes.
a faulty start.
Yes. So none of the athletes have been charged, Raj?
No, so they wheel and come again. Yeah, so we spoke about Edward Clark.
Yes. Oh, this is his son, Raj.
Right, this is his son who was at Jamaica College himself. Then he had a transfer to Calabar, no doubt, maybe because of Edward Clark in terms of Michael Clark, the coach at Jamaica College.
Yes.
At the time when the senior Michael Clark was a dominant runner, his Michael Clark over there at Calabar, so he decided to send his son over to be coached by his former coach, Michael Clark at Calabar.
All right, they're on their marks for the second time. And away they go. No problem this time. We look to the middle of the track. And Daniel Chambers of Titans International in the middle of the track seemed to have got the nod. On this inside, though, was Johan Ogilvy of Titans International closing fast. But Chambers seemed to have snatched this one of Titans International. So Titans International, in my view, Rogers, seemed to have snatched a 1-2. But looking at the board now, we're seeing Wilson. Tariq Wilson being credited, unless based on what we have, Roger, some of the times the athlete may have switched lanes because
all right, so Tariq Wilson, no doubt, of Legacy Athletics. Of course, Legacy, they are based up there at Calabar High School. Tariq Wilson, formerly of Calabar, 10.72.
Given 10.72 seconds.
Yes, 10.80, accredited to second Chambers.
Yes.
Daniel Chambers. And here we are watching the replay. No.
So that would be Wilson running there in lane 4.
Holding on to that lead and held his composure, winning this section.
Just like
seconds.
And just like Tariq Wilson winning just now, a former Calabar athlete, Oblique Seville, a former Calabar athlete, all of those athletes, Roger, you remember, ran on the same team a few years ago. Tariq Wilson, Michael Bentley, and a super 4x1 team.
Yes. Yeah, a very fast team. That team also had the likes of a Christopher Till on the
Christopher Taylor in
backstretch.
the backstretch as well,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, and Edward Clark, the said Edward Clark Jr. He
To
was
whom we referred
also,
earlier.
yes, he would have been a starter on one of those teams for Calabar as well that broke records and so on. So they are building a new program out there, the Legacy Athletics Club,
Yes.
based out there, Calabar. So you find that a lot of the Calabar athletes matriculating into club competition right there, where they would have been accustomed to at home there, Calabar, and a number of other athletes from other institutions, other clubs coming across as well to help shore up that club. So we watch to see how things will progress there.
As you mentioned that club, Roger, always Michael Clark himself doing the coach there at Calabar.
Well, I know that he's still the man who calls the shots and so on
Okay.
up there. Um, contrary to what you might hear, he's still around. That's
Right.
Michael Clark. So it's now what, six? Section six. It's Shane Pitter, Sean D. Thompson, also a long jumper. They're in the set position and off they go. And it's Nicoy Greenwood and Tajay Toller, Joshawn Parks in the middle of the pack. And coming now down to the wire, it is Joshawn Parks winning. Very, 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 very modest. 11.06 coming across.
Uh,
Typically, we say Jamaicans don't really run those times,
no, not
but
at
that
all.
was a time that was logged here. 11.09, Buckle second, 11.25 there. So no doubt these times are developmental times
Yes,
in terms of how the
and
athletes
nothing to
are
write
running.
home about.
11.09 the flash time there.
Sean D. Thompson, as you mentioned earlier on, just competing in this particular
Yes, he's also a
event.
long jumper. So
Right. And he won the long jump last week, if you remember,
mhm,
beating the World Championship gold medalist Tajay Gale.
right,
Right. And Sean D. Thompson logging, if my memory serves me right, 7.7.
7.77 I think. Yeah,
7.77? I
right.
thought it was 7.81. Not too sure. Stand corrected.
Mhm.
But I can always look back in the results sheet. But he mentioned that it was his first outing, Roger, Sean D. Thompson.
Mhm.
And he was super privileged and super happy. Uh, Beating Tajay Gale didn't weigh on him as the fact that he got the chance to compete.
Yeah, I think that would have been the first outing for Gale as well in terms of, you know,
In the field,
competing in the
the
field.
field, okay.
The a couple of weeks ago, Tajay Gale would have been running the 100
I
meters.
remember that as well,
Yeah,
yes.
he's a good 10.7, 10.6 man,
Okay,
Tajay Gale, which
yes.
makes it makes him a very good candidate to be a long jumper. Of course, we all saw
Yes.
what he did in
That's it.
Doha 2 years ago, winning the long jump title, the 10th, the best time in over 10 years in the world.
Yes.
One of the best jumps of all times, national record and so on.
And you
Beating
were
the
there as part of history.
right.
Yes.
So a very good field. He beat us well there. So early outing here for Tajay Gale in the long jump. Got beat last week, but I'm certain that's nothing to write home about.
Not at all.
Hmm.
We stand you by now for another section of the men's 100 meters. This should be section 7, Raj. Yes, section 7 of the men's 100 meters. We have 4 competitors on the track. Lane 1, Ramal Sewell MVP. Tajan Tolo, lane 2, swept. Nicoy Greenwood, lane 4, MVP. Joshan Parks, lane 5, GC Foster. And away they go. First time of asking. Look now to Tajim Tolo running out there in lane 1. Make that Ramal Sewell. But in the middle of the track, it is Javon McIntosh, who is unattached. And McIntosh seemed to have come home. We wait to see if it's what time. Well, it's actually Parks who gets it. Joshawn Parks of GC Foster College, who gets the victory, 11:34, and that too, Rod, is not a time to write home about either.
Not at all. As we say, some of these athletes, as you're seeing on your screen, they are just in the developmental stage in terms of these events. A lot of them might have been doing other events and just using this sprint event as a background work,
Yeah.
in terms of their pet event and so on.
So Parks, the winner there, Roger, That is Joshawn Parks of GC Foster College winning in 11.34 seconds.
All right, so we are having action over by the, is it the discus area or no action as yet?
No actions as
No
far
action
as I
as
can
yet.
see yet in the
Yes,
discus area.
yes,
I'm looking in the long jump pit.
yes. So the long jump
And,
should be
and action
getting
is on the
underway
way right now.
shortly. All right, so it's the women long jump, and
Let me say good morning to
among,
Carol Coughley, who is one of the officials there who have worked for more than 20 years in that area. And she's also an administrator with the Amateur Swimming Association of Jamaica, which is now Swim Aquatics.
right. So the men's long jump is currently on the way. Sean D. Thompson, who as we spoke about earlier, he's there as well as one of the competitors in the long jump. So normally in events like these, the events complement each other. Sean D. Thompson going across the run in 100 meters, then come back
Coming
to
across to take part
continue
in the long
his
jump.
long jump exploits. But we have Joseph Rami, Paquita Dudley, formerly of Jamaica College, and
Yes.
Carifta
Gold medalist.
man himself,
Yes.
Daniel Austin, Javier Lowe, Daniel Thompson, Adrian Riley, Sean D. Thompson of GC Foster. Those are the competitors in the
Men's long jump,
long jump. There's another 100 meters.
which would now be the last section, Raj. And I believe you have the call on that. Away they go.
And there is Edwards, Hoyle, Hanson, White. On inside is Jermaine Hugh. And it's coming now down to the wire. 11.30, another modest time here based on the proceedings from Jermaine Hugh out there in lane 2. The others in the pack, Adrian Edwards, Matthew Howell, Rajay Hansen, and Javin Hughes. So it's Jermaine Hines actually coming up, but we have Jermaine Huey here on our
log sheet.
right.
Yes.
So what we have is a Jermaine Huie, but actually it's a Jermaine Hines Hind.
Yes.
11.33 his time coming across. So another modest time, and of course this closes proceedings on the men's 100 meters this morning. So the faster times that have gone earlier, Oblique Civil 10.23, Johan Blake 10.26, and so on. Those are the top times, no doubt, here this morning in the men's 100 meters. And of course, before that, we had the women's 100 meters. We had Mickey Harriet winning section 1. And also we have Mikhail Moody winning section number 1. So
after the running of the men's 100 meter, Roger would be going into the women's event. Well, the women participated earlier on in their 100 meters, and then the men. And Roger will be able to tell us the next event on track.
right. So what we are having now, what we have here on our information sheet is that the next event will be the 110 meter high hurdles, and there's a lone competitor in that event, Lloyd Faces. So we'll wait and see. Yes, but Dwight, we were speaking earlier about the 100 meters hurdles for women,
right?
Of course, you have the likes of the Daniel Thomas still there thereabouts. She would have been the favorite to win the World Championships 2 years ago in Doha.
And her moniker or her nickname is Ants.
Right, and she picked up 3rd place behind the Americans there. Of course, you have a whole new generation of hurdlers coming through. The Brittany Anderson, another one. She, for me, up to this day, I think she was robbed of at least a share of the gold medal at the World Under 20s in Finland.
Yes.
In 2018, when I'm not certain of how.
Because she went down on the line, Roger.
Yes,
yes.
But it was the American.
The American athlete, yes.
Would have gotten. Then we have a new set of generation coming through here for the hurdle. So we have quite a few coming through in the 100 meter hurdles.
For women.
This year, it's going to be a very Akira Nugent.
Yes.
She, of Excelsior, formerly of Excelsior, she has been blazing the tracks up there in the NCAAs and so on, you know. So I do think that we'll be having a very strong women's hurdles program for a while here in Jamaica, and we'll just wait and see. And the new generation coming through and establishing themselves and their dominance, and will be thereabouts. Of course, the Americans are still the ones to beat in terms of having that dominance over the past couple of years, winning of the
Right.
world seniors and the Olympics and so on. But the Jamaicans are not too far behind. It's just a matter of time before I think the Jamaican hurdlers, on the women's side, the men's side as well. We have the
Yes.
Damian Thomas, under 20 world champion as well, NCAA champion. Of course,
Right.
Omar McLeod is
Omar
still
McLeod.
there.
Right.
Last
Right.
week we saw Broadbell
Rashid
logging a
Broadbell,
world leading time.
13.15.
Right. And the Deuce Carter is still around. The
Hmm.
Ronald Levy is still around, and so on. And Bennett, Orlando Bennett, he was a bronze medalist at the under 20s behind Damian Thomas. He's there or thereabout as well. So the hurdles, both men and women,
Yes.
it looks as if we will be having good medal
Or good
hopefuls at the Olympics
representation.
this year.
Okay,
Mm.
because Raj, it would be hard to see the Olympic Games being held and Jamaica not being represented. Hard to see the Olympic Games being staged as well and Jamaica not being competitive,
Mm.
because we don't only make up numbers, Roger. We actually deliver the goods.
Right.
And then in a pandemic year, when events have being pushed back, cancelled, or postponed, the athletes have had a difficult run up. As we look at the athlete preparing for his run up in the long jump, for events, Roger, because many a times they prepare only to hear that the events are postponed or cancelled.
Right, and right now, in terms of especially the 4 by 100 meters relays for men, right now they are still having some issues where that is concerned, because we haven't yet had a team that has qualified for the Olympics as yet. They were hoping to use
Mm,
the world relays to to see if they could get the qualification times there. But of
right.
course, Jamaica pulled out of the world relays earlier this year,
Yes.
citing a number of concerns in terms of the overall
Including.
travel,
Yes.
routing of athletes and so on, and the whole pandemic and quarantine and so on. So
Because of
Jamaica joined the likes of, say, the United States and other big countries pulling out of the
pulling out
world
of the
relays
world relays.
this year. So the men's 4 by 100 meters team now, I heard this week the president speaking about they'll have to find some meets. Possibly they might have to use maybe a couple of the Diamond League meets to see if they can get a team um, to qualify for the men's 4 by one. That's a staple for Jamaica over the years.
Definitely.
I mean,
Yes.
Jamaica have always been qualifying and winning gold medals.
And Jamaica being the world record holder in the event.
Right.
Yes.
So still hoping, because what is happening now is that the top 8 at the world relays would have gotten automatic
Automatic
qualification.
qualification
So
for the
it's
Olympic
now, yeah,
Games
because
in
it's
Tokyo,
16
Japan.
teams. 16 teams will qualify. The top 8 from the world relays. So 8 Jamaica will try to make the other places outside of the world relays. Hopefully, a couple of Diamond League meets will do the trick
Right.
into having a team to log that time and qualify for the 4 by 100 meters. Of course, the national championship still scheduled for June. Those are mainly individual events. So the qualifiers for the Olympic qualifiers there is still on for June as of now.
As of now,
As
yeah.
of we speak,
Because
the Olympics is still on.
remember last week we spoke and we said that every now and then the
Mm.
information keeps changing.
In terms of the information keep changing,
Yeah.
it has changed again because Tokyo, there's now an emergency. They are now under a state of emergency in
As,
Tokyo and
yes.
other prefectures in Japan that will be hosting Olympic events. State of emergency again.
And that is
Uh,
as regards the pandemic?
you're right. They are
Right.
having a new surge in terms of cases in these cities, and they have ordered a state of emergency. Just less than what? Less than about 90 days, or 90, a little bit over 90 days remaining for the Olympics,
Yes.
which has no doubt set the cats among the pigeons again in terms of having this state of emergency so close to the Olympics, and as well as so close to there's a series of qualification events scheduled in Japan as well. Swimming, diving, about 5 events that will be taking place in Japan. and so questions again being raised is will the Olympics go ahead or not?
Right, because remember the Olympics was originally slated for last year, Roger,
Right,
2020,
postponed by a year,
and postponed by a year.
pushing back the entire sporting
Global calendar.
calendar
Right,
back a year. So the World Championships should have been held this year.
right. But as
It's
far as I
pushed
know,
back
that
to next
the
year.
World Championship has been pushed back to next year.
You're right. So I'm
Right,
saying that because of the whole Olympics thing, it has pushed back
and
other global events by a year.
and then also with the World Championship being pushed back a year to 2022, that would clash with the Commonwealth Games
Hmm.
2022 in Glasgow.
Right, a
Right,
number of
right.
events, and then
And
it's a
clash
quick
meaning being around the same time.
and it's a
Yes.
quick turnaround because the World Championships scheduled again for 2023, then the Olympics at 2024.
24.
So it will be, if all being well from now, in terms of, say, for instance, say the events actually do go
Or say
ahead,
the COVID numbers go down globally. Yes.
yeah, it will be a very hectic time for sports in the next 3 years in
So
terms of
there'll be no rest for us on Stride
no,
Vision TV.
well, maybe not, but for the next 3 years will be very, very, very hectic on the global sporting calendar because you'll be having the athletes competing back to back to back to back for at least 3 years. Don't know what toll it will take on them, but we'll see.
We'll see. But also, to just in case you're joining us, let me just say we're coming to you live from Kingston's National Stadium with a look at the Gordon Town Hills and the backdrop of the bleachers there over Gate 3. We're standing by now for hurdles event on the track. But earlier on, we had the 100 meters for women and the 100 meters for men, and myself along with Roger Hasfall. This is StrideVision TV. Welcome to Sports TV.
Right, so it's the J3 qualification series, and it's now we're totally overcast here. Quite sunny earlier. Not certain if we might be getting some rains, but no doubt it will aid in the cooling down of things here at the National Stadium and so on. But good to know that track and field action is up and running. And yesterday, as we speak about that, they had a walkthrough here at the stadium, and a number of proceedings will have to be adhered to for the successful completion and successful running of the Boys and Girls Athletics Championships. Chief among them, as we heard,
Which is May
Dwight,
11 to 15.
yes, chief among them is that we are hearing that the athletes will be will all be in a biosecure bubble, and one of the requirements is that every single person entering the stadium, from athletes to officials to everyone, media, medical personnel, fire personnel, police personnel, everyone will be required to complete a COVID-19 test. So that is one of the requirements that will have to be met
Enforced.
here for the successful running of the Boys and Girls
Girls
Athletics
Athletics
Championship. So the athletes will be in a bubble, a biosecure bubble. I'm certain that will be an expensive venture, but that's one thing that they'll have to deal with.
And I heard you mention something about COVID testing.
Right,
as well,
and every single person entering the stadium for champs. Of course, there'll be no spectators, but every single person that will be entering the stadium will be required to go through a COVID-19 test. So, sorry for those of you over there in the diaspora who would have always, this coming to champs would have always been part of your routine, yearly routine. For the second straight year, no spectators. Well, second straight year, you won't be able to attend champs because remember last year the event was cancelled altogether. They were still toying up to a couple of weeks ago with the idea of cancelling the champs, but at the last moment, they got to go ahead.
Right.
And from where we sit, it's all systems go in terms of champs definitely on the way.
But Roger,
and all the protocols and the requirements are all in place for the successful running of champs this year.
But Roger, this is about the third time, Raj, that champs have been pushed back.
Yes, it would have been the third time because the first one was scheduled for March in March, the traditional time.
Right. And then April 27
and then it was pushed back to April 27, and then they had another postponement to May
11 to
May 11
15.
to 15, and that looks to be the final one. And speaking about postponements and
Yes.
cancellation, it appears that the Carifta Games is in danger of also being cancelled, having been there no event last year,
And
having been postponed two
postponed
times already
twice.
this year,
Yes, yes.
and now the strict requirements in Bermuda apparently looks as if it's going to be making it very difficult for the event to go ahead. No official confirmation as yet in terms of no Carifta Games this year, but from where we sit, it looks as if it will be a no-go because, I mean, based on what we're hearing, the whole travel situation, the Bermuda is very strict in terms of people coming in have to be quarantined and so on, and the whole charter flight situation with athletes coming in and so on, and the whole expenses and a lot of things. I don't expect that we'll be having a Carifta Games this year. An event that Jamaica has been pretty dominant.
Down in many years, yes, Raj. I mean,
over the years.
we've always topped the medal chart at the Caribbean Games. The only time Jamaica haven't topped the medal chart would have to be a year when Jamaica didn't participate, and I can't remember any.
I know that there was a time in the 80s when there was the strong Jamaican team and they didn't come out on top on the medals table then, but it has always been, a dominant outing for the Jamaicans at the Carifta Games. Many stars have been born at the Carifta Games.
Oh, definitely.
Over the
Usain
years,
Bolt
all
being
the
one of
big
them.
names. The last one was Brian
Liston.
Williams.
Brian Williams, yes.
We heard a lot of people complaining that Jamaica is bigger than the Carifta Games and so on. I totally disagree with that.
Right.
Because the Carifta Games, for majority of those going to the Carifta Games,
yes.
to the Carifta Games, majority of them, this is their first international exposure.
Definitely, Roger. And many of them, Roger, you would have seen, have you been following track and field like myself over 20 years, would have gone on to great things, Roger, as a result of the Carifta Games, using it as a perfect springboard.
Yes, and even the World Athletics, formerly IAAF, they have paid homage to the Carifta Games as one of those events that has really produced stars for the World Athletics program. I mean, when you have Shawnee Miller-Ueba, Kirani James. I remember 2009, both Shawnee Miller-Ueba, she was Shawnee Miller at that time. Kirani James were at the same Carifta Games in 2009 in St. Lucia. Jenny Russ was there as well. I remember Kemoy Campbell, of course, you remember.
Bromfield.
In terms of that Carifta Games, there were quite a few stars out of that Carifta game. Jenny Russ I think she would have been doing the heptathlon at that time. She won the heptathlon at that Carifta Games, and so on. So a number of those athletes coming up through the Carifta Games have gone on to world fame, world beating fame.
Natoya Gould being one of them as well, over the 800 meters, right? And doing well now internationally. Participated, of course, in the World Championship the last time it was held.
Yes.
And she made the final.
Right. Placing sixth.
Sixth.
Had a very, very strong reason for complaining about the tactic being used in that race by the race winner from Uganda.
Yes.
She would have been in the hunt for a medal, and I think a dirty tactic which went unnoticed by that athlete. It prevailed, and we saw where, because of that bad run on Gould, she faded out of a medal contention. So just to remind you that you're watching StrideVisionTV right here on your screens. We are here at the Kingston National Stadium for the JAAA Qualification Series 9.62. We take a break.
There's a new you, ready to make a real change for 2021, and Peaberry Institute is just the place for you. At PBI, you can study nursing, medical assisting, and even become a home health aide. Short programs, flexible schedules, on-campus labs, superb student support services, caring faculty and staff. Bottom line, we care about you. Come, check us out. Financial aid available to those that qualify.
Pure Water Jamaica.
The G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport produces world-class physical education teachers, coaches, massage therapists, fitness instructors, and recreational professionals. They offer programs which include Master of Science degree, 4-year bachelor's degree, associate degree in coaching, and much more. Visit their office at Angel, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Telephone 876-619-1097-99. G.C. Foster College, the college of choice.
So we are coming in with a force, yeah. Blessings we are reap and we coursing on full. Oh, we not rise and boast.